Vincent, I really wanted to talk a little bit about the 2020 vintage because we just received your Petit Chablis, Chablis, and Premier Cruise, and I just think the balance, the freshness, the salinity, they have that mouth-watering, Chablis perfection that we all dream of. And I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. Can you talk about the 2020 vintage and kind of a little bit comparison to 2019, which preceded it?
Yeah, you're right, David. It's a very typical vintage, finally, 2020. And when you look to the weather we had during this vintage, you have difficulties to think that with a warm vintage like this, how the wines can be so typical from the Chablis style and so well balanced. And that's one of the important points for me. The 2020, they get a better balance than the 19. The conditions were very similar. During the summertime, we had a lot of sun, solar character, dryness. But finally, with good choice on our way to work in the vineyard and for the choice of the date of harvest, we did a very good vintage. But we have learned a lot of things from the past. You see, in 2003, we were harvesting also in August. But the identity of the wines was very different. We get solar character, high alcohol level, whereas in 2020 it's not the case. We stay at normal alcohol level, 12 for the Petit Chablis, 12.5 for the Chablis, and the wines have really an expression that is very good and already. And for me, that's why the wines from 20 have a better balance than the 19.
So you think it was a combination of all the things you learned from some of these previous, going back to 2003, warmer, earlier harvest, farming, and then also you've explained that the harvest, date and the rapidity, the fact that you could get your team in there and organize yourselves to get the wine into the cellar quickly was also a big factor.
Yeah, it's a big factor, as even if you start early, if you don't pick the grapes quickly, you can gain very high level of sugar in just a couple of days, and you lose also acidity, and both are important in the balance of the wines. If the sugar is too high, you will have a Chablis with 14-degree alcohol, which is not typical at all, and not what the people are searching in a Chablis wines. Like you said, they search salinity, they search freshness, crispness, and all of that. You have really to have a good balanced grapes. And in 2020, malic acid was very low, so we get really a very good ripeness for the grapes, and sanitary conditions were perfect too. So if you have both, it's like a dream, and you can sign every year to have this balance in the grapes. Unfortunately, it's not the case all the time, but for me, 2020 deserve a lot of attention from the customers, as it's a vintage that they can enjoy from now and that they can age for long in their cellar.
Yeah, no, it's a vintage that I can't wait to taste with folks in the over the holidays and into the new year. I think it really is surprising and gonna surprise a lot of people with that balance and that beauty that they've, I think there was a lot of folks that felt like we were gonna only have rich, warm vintages with bigger wines moving forward. And in fact, 2020 is going to deliver wines that are much more classically chiseled. And as you pointed out, the alcohol levels are exactly what people traditionally would expect from great Chablis. Thank you so much for that really insightful conversation about 2020. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, Vincent.
Welcome, David. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.